Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. You're watching our special show, India Fights Back. I'm Vishal Dahiya. Now here we take a stock of the battle against COVID-19 pandemic. Today we're going to talk about the mutated strains, specifically the foreign ones. In addition to the UK variant, now there are reports of South African and Brazilian mutant strain also showing up in India. In fact, the 4 persons were detected with the South African variant of SARS-CoV-2 in India in January, while 1 tested positive for the Brazil variant in the first week of February. This was reported by the Director General of Indian Council of Medical Research recently. And today we're going to talk about these variants also. What do we know about them and how difficult it might be to tackle them, and what exactly is being done to tackle these mutants on the ground there. And for more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of experts. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with Dr. Rakesh Mishra is with us, the Director of Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, that is CCMB. We also have with us Dr. Pragya D. Yadav, Scientist E and in charge of the Maximum Containment Laboratory of ICMR's NIV in Pune. And Dr. Upasana Ray is also joining us, Senior Scientist and Deputy Head of the Infectious Disease and Immunology at CSIR's Indian Institute of Chemical Biology, that is IICB. Welcome all of you to Rajya Sabha Television. Let me begin with you, Dr. Pragya Yadav, and let's start by understanding what do we know so far about these foreign mutated strains. UK variant is one which we have discussed in detail, but specifically about the South African strain and the Brazilian one.
Thank you, Mr. Vishal, for inviting on the show. As it was declared yesterday by Professor Balram Bhargav, sir, that we have now recently detected 4 South African variant in 4 different cases arrived from different part of the world, and 1 Brazilian P2 lineage is also detected in one of the patients who traveled from Brazil to India. Prior to this, we have discussed that how these variants is going to affect the vaccine programs and how it is going to affect monoclonals and other therapeutics products which everybody is trying to develop to deal with the pandemic. So I just want to recall that last month we isolated virus which is called UK variant, or variant of concern, and we have used this virus to study if it is the co-vaccine which was launched in January by Indian government for the immunization, if it is working against a UK variant or not. And our study not only against the UK variant, but with the D614 mutation and unclassified clade, we tried 3 different strains, and it showed very good utilization with the vaccinee sample when we did this study. And similarly, we are progressing further to know how the Brazil and South Africa strain will impact the vaccine studies in India. And efforts is in place, and we are making progress on that.
Okay.
We will come back to you soon.
Okay. Let me also bring in Dr. Upasana Ray here. Dr. Upasana, your views on these strains, and then for us to better understand, for the common man to better understand all about these strains, specifically the South African strain, the Brazilian strain, and how they're different from the UK mutated strain.
Okay, so before even I go into that, I would like to say that yes, there is a concern, and we have seen that there are studies published which show that the variant identified in South Africa is less susceptible to antibodies, although it's not peer-reviewed, and it's created by natural infection and by vaccines made by Pfizer, Biotech, BioNTech, and Moderna. So that's kind of claim that has been made. But viruses do mutate, and mutations also help survival of a virus in its new host. Having said that, not all mutations survive at population level. Out of many, some expand and some spread more in the population. So when that happens, we may say that there is more transmission of that variant. Okay, now coming to your question about different variants, we have South African variant, which is also called as B1351. So that's the South African variant of the coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, and was detected in 4 people recently who came to the country last month, if I'm correct. In India, I'm talking about India. So the South African strain of COVID-19 has been detected in 4 returnees from South Africa, and all the travelers and their contacts were tested and quarantined. So measures have been taken. Okay, now we have this variant, Brazilian variant, which is 11248. And then here, we also have detected Brazilian variant in our country. Now, this variant has mutations N501Y and E484K. So these are the 2 mutations which have been highlighted for this, although there are in the background other mutations, almost 10 of them. Okay, so it has caused widespread infection in the city of Manaus in Brazil. It had done that once, and there was a widespread outbreak already. And recently, Brazil is also facing a second outbreak in spite of having already one outbreak. So that's why this Brazilian variant is also a concern when it comes to India. It spreads here after all ifs and buts. Now I will come quickly to the other variants like UK variants. We have also discussed and we all have seen in print media about the UK variants, B117, B1135. And so there are some common elements here, and that's the N501Y mutation, which essentially is a mutation that occurs in the spike protein of this virus. I won't go into technical details, but it's again an accumulation of mutation which has been said to be affecting the entry of the virus in the host cell.
Okay.
Okay, it has been also said that all these variants have one common feature, that is mutation in the spike protein, and they might be, they are most probably more transmissible. Very recently, there have been some reports which say that the African variant or the African strain and the Brazilian strain is also more virulent, but that point is not very well established. People are still working on it.
Okay.
So that's a different, yes, so that's all from my side about these variants.
Okay, that should explain a lot about these variants. Let me also bring in Dr. Rakesh Mishra here. Dr. Mishra, we've spoken about a lot of mutations and variants earlier as well, and as Dr. Upasana was pointing out, it is natural for the viruses to mutate. But the question here is how serious is the concern that these 2 variants, in addition to the UK variant, the Brazilian variant and the South African variant, has surfaced in India? How serious is the concern, one, and how would you, define or explain the difference between these 3 mutated strains?
So the emergence of new variants is one of the major threat of such infectious agents like coronavirus. Mutation is a natural process in all living organisms, including humans. And but what happens is that in virus, the mutation takes place at very high rate. Although COVID-19 has been a little bit less than what it could have been. But if we allow the virus in large numbers for longer time, so we are giving more chances for newer mutations to emerge. And as you just heard, that most of the mutations are of no significance, so they are just catalogued and left. Like in bone, we have catalogued more than 5,000 mutations, but there are no consequence, and they are just catalogued and kept. Once in a while, a variant comes which is more infectious for a variety of reasons. It may be binding more tightly to the cell surface, so it enters easily, or it may be produced more in numbers so that the viral particle reaching to the next person are more, so it gets more infectious, and so on, variety of reasons. Luckily, so far, the variants that have emerged are so few, and they are not more clinically more dangerous. Their symptoms are similar, mortality is very similar, and most comforting point so far to me is that there are hardly any reinfections, which means these viruses are still, in quotes, respecting the previous infections, which means the vaccines are very likely to be effective against them. Having uh, you just heard that Brazilian strain requires 10 times more antibody for neutralization. So that means there is a chance that some vaccines or some individuals, in some individuals, vaccines may not work. So the mutations are get noticed when they are taking place on the surface protein of the virus or the core protein of the virus, because then they show more effect
Okay.
of infectivity and so on. But we have to be extremely careful. Emergence of new virus. One other good thing is somehow it has happened that we don't see lateral spread of this virus yet. All the cases that have been, almost all, I would say close to 100%, they have travel history, which means they have not gone laterally from somebody else. So that means we are able to contain them by quarantine, or somehow people living here are a little bit less infectious to that, so it's not spreading. Whichever we will try to figure it out. But we should be worried not only about these variants, we should be worried about the variant that we will be generating if we allow the virus to grow. There is not, I mean, my fear is that in Kerala or in Mumbai, the new surge of the cases may not be because of this virus. That might be a new variant emerging from there. We are now having very strong program of this genomic surveillance of this virus, which national level sequencing effort is being put in place. So the sufficient number of viruses are analyzed in detail so that we know if there is new variant coming, or if it is the UK variant or a Brazil variant or something, so that we can contain it better, we can have better strategy to take care of that.
Okay.
But variant is a major issue now with this virus.
Okay, definitely. That is an aspect. And we'll come back to this point as to what needs to be done there. But since you mentioned the genome sequencing part there and the genome surveillance there as well, let me bring in Dr. Pragya again. Dr. Pragya, you were earlier talking about, that how we're trying to study and we're trying to find more about these mutations which have surfaced in India. Now, one of the studies done by the South African researchers say that this particular mutant is 50% more, contagious than the other variations. So the question here is that what do we know based on our studies here? Do we agree with what the study made by those researchers as point out in terms of these variants which have surfaced here? Or are there some other areas, some other aspects which we are trying to learn, trying to understand so that we can, form our response accordingly?
Yeah, so Mr. Vishal, actually recently some of the paper has come up on the UK variant, which is based on the modeling. But the real data is still awaited, and but there are the recent data which is being released from UK, which is state there is a less mortality, so it's not very pathogenic, but there is a high infectiousness, so the transmission is high. But and many people actually talk, many researchers in different countries trying to do animal model study to prove if this theory is actually right. So I think very quickly this kind of data will also support that. But those cases which arrive in India, as Dr. Rakesh just mentioned about the consortium, which is doing the large number of sequencing, most of them recovered. Either they were asymptomatic and they have very mild symptoms. Similarly, those cases which arrived in our country from Brazil and South Africa, most of them either asymptomatic or having a very mild disease, and they have recovered and now they are fine. So I think so far situation doesn't look very challenging for the country because we are alert and we are continuously trying to monitor the virus, sequencing them, and also we are trying to isolate different viruses so that anything if come and it create a challenge to us, we can immediately test them against the existing vaccine and we can answer the question. So, so these are my thought. But there is a recent paper which come up 2 days back, and one of the group has claimed that the natural infections is not so effective like vaccine is. Those people who has got vaccines, they will even having the less chances of having reinfection. rather with the new variants, rather those who has initially recovered. So
Okay.
different kind of concepts are now coming. Even many, there is a one study has come up where they have recovered cases and they try to do the neutralization, and they found that these have been very effective for different variants. So I think sooner or later we will have more answer on the research background. But at the moment there's a lot of speculation. But situation is still under control in our country because of moving very good vaccination program and very good participation from different health program workers from across the country. So
Okay.
if we go like that, I think we are quite well at the moment.
Okay, indeed, this is a dynamic situation, and we'll try and tune or readjust our response based on the details which come in from the scientists or the researchers based on the work done by them. Let me bring in Dr. Upasana again here. Dr. Upasana, from your point of view, what exactly needs to be done in cases like these when we encounter new variations, and that too new mutations, that too coming in from foreign shores, like the South African mutant or the Brazilian mutant, and we know that they might be more contagious?
Okay, so again, I'll be answering your question in two parts. The first part is again talking about very basic biology. We get panicked about whenever we hear about mutations happening, and then I'll come to your question that what should we do? Okay, so when we say transmission rate and all, so more transmission doesn't essentially mean more virulence. Okay. So rather, it means that this new variant is able to infect more efficiently. Okay, that can happen if it can bind to its receptors more efficiently, gaining entry faster or more efficient entry, or it might also have gained infection ability in new host cell types. Okay. So I'll again repeat, infection in new host cell types. We don't know about it, but it's theoretical. So here we are talking about more transmission or spread due to mutations happening on surface proteins of the virus. However, theoretically, more transmission may also happen if virus load in an infected person is more. That means if a virus becomes more able to replicate, replicates more and produces more progeny virus particles in its host cell, then also the extent of transmission might increase. Such replication efficient variants might also arise due to mutations in viral non-structural proteins, for example, RDRP, which is RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, just an example. So it is not only the spike protein. Okay, now a mutant poses fresh threat or is a matter of concern when it is an antibody escape mutant. And it is confirmed that this new variant is a serotype. Okay, I'll repeat this word, serotype. That means type of virus or the variant of a virus that cannot be efficiently neutralized by antibodies produced as a result of immune stimulation by the earlier version of the virus. So essentially, when this new serotype infects, the memory B and the T cells, these are the immune effector cells, cannot recognize it efficiently. I'm not saying it cannot recognize, I'm repeating my words. It cannot recognize efficiently and offer the same extent of protection as expected. Okay, in such cases, new vaccine candidates might be required. Okay, now answering to direct answer to your question, that what should we do? So to me, the key is to first carry out mass vaccinations. So currently we do have vaccine candidates, vaccines that have been rolled out, even if it's in emergency mode. So that vaccination protocol has to be done faster. Then testing is extremely important. Testing and sequencing. Sequencing is also important. Whether or not the variations or the mutations we identify ultimately turns out to be more causing more transmission or be more virulent or not, tabulation and documentation of different mutations and monitoring and being vigilant on this part is extremely important, and we are already doing it. So because a virus does not respect borders. That also we have to keep in mind. So that's
Okay.
my.
Okay, definitely. So more testing, focus on genome sequencing there, and obviously vaccination, the ongoing vaccination drive, give more impetus to it. Dr. Rakesh Mishra, would you agree with all those 3 points there, sir? And would you add something to it when we're talking about adopting a evolving strategy against mutated strains?
Yeah, no, I fully agree. In fact, everybody agrees to this that we must do a large number of testing. So if people will be asymptomatic, but some people with comorbidities will suffer. So and this should be enhanced, not reduced. We shouldn't take it easy that the positivity is less, because now schools are opening, and to me, although it is essential to open the schools, but it is extremely important that we take extreme care. So I'll list out a few things. One is,
Okay.
as I said, testing in a very large number so that we pick up even asymptomatic cases. We should do, government has decided to do 5% sequencing of new positives. So that's a very decent number. If we do that, we will pick up new variants as and when they come. And we must use the tools that are available to us, which is the vaccine, which is available. People should go forward and take the vaccine, take the second dose, because without second dose, you will not get the full protection. Taking vaccine doesn't mean you are done. First of all, it takes a month or two for the protection to set in, and there are 20%, 10% cases which will not respond to vaccine, which is established from the data. So that means we have to take our natural vaccine, which is the mask and hygiene, as the first and foremost most effective tool today. If we don't do that, what you are seeing in Bangalore, what you are seeing in Kerala, those are the kinds of things will happen. And in the class, we also know that the virus is more effective in terms of transmission in closed environment, closed room. So we must use ventilated space for the classroom. Particularly, I'm mainly concerned that when children come, they should be educated that not to exchange mask with friends and do minimum interaction. And if we use with full proper discipline the mask and hand hygiene and a bit of social distancing, we can take care of this. But
Okay.
it is a fight. We are having the upper hand at the moment in India, at least that number of cases less. But this situation can change any day. If a new variant comes, it starts spreading. And already healthcare workers have done heroic job, but we cannot expect them to be on their toes for months and months and years. So I think vaccine and social vaccine both have to be used with the fullest possible way, and each citizen has to play their role if we have to fight this without much damage. Otherwise, this is showing again and again that the virus may come back to us with new variants. So yeah, we have to be extremely careful.
Okay, definitely. Those are the points. Thank you so much, Dr. Rakesh Mishra, Dr. Upasna, as well as Dr. Pragya Yadav for sharing your views here on this very important aspect. As our panelists were pointing out, this is all about the mutated strains, specifically the foreign mutated strains, not only the UK variant, but the Brazil and the South African variant as well, which have also been reported in India. And as our panelists were pointing out, it is not only limited to taking a vaccine, although vaccine is really, really important, but also, ensuring that all other steps are taken. These strains are being further studied based on the information which come in. We will, readjust or retune our response, which obviously is going to be a dynamic one in this particular situation. But once again, apart from the vaccine and the genome sequencing and focus on testing, one other aspect which is really, really important is the COVID-appropriate behavior, and it is just a 3 simple step process. Number 1 is you have to wear your mask at all times, and also the second one is about hand hygiene, which is really important. Wash your hands regularly with clean water and soap, and also ensure physical distancing whenever you are out there in public places. These 3 simple steps will keep you and your near and dear ones safe, and these are very, very simple steps to follow. We would request and urge all of you to follow these steps regularly in your lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching Rajya Sabha Television. We'll come back again tomorrow with a different topic in the same show. Till then, keep watching RSTV.